So here's one of those castings I did the other day. Posted the video on YouTube. So this one was cast in this orientation, so that all the gas bubbles sit at the top. And now I'm just busy cleaning the surface so that I can polish it later. So the sand that I use is sand from a local river. So it's a little bit rougher than the industrial sand that you can get. The industrial sand that you can buy for brass is actually very, very fine, especially the surface sand, or the sand that you typically use on your surface. Investment Foundry, the quality is also very, very good because they start with a very, very, very fine sludge. So if you don't have good quality sand, there's a couple of tricks to improve your castings. One of the tricks is obvious. You just sift the sand and you use the finest sand that you can. But that only goes so far, especially with brass. Brass tends to go into the sand a little bit and you end up with a rough surface. The other thing that you can do is dust the mold with flour, normal cake flour. You end up with an incredibly good quality surface. I didn't do that with this mold because I was lazy, and I'm paying for that now, so I need to file this surface down. And all I'm really doing is I'm just taking off the roughest parts with a file, and then this will end up going to the drill on the mandrel that it is, so that'll go into the drill. And then I'll start sanding it on the drill I'll start with about a 300 grit sandpaper, and I'll use 400, 600, 800 and so forth, and then finally polishing with a little bit of metal polish. Other way of doing it is to put it in a tumbler and let the little balls or polishing media in a tumbler sort of clean the surface up. The problem with that is you end up with a different looking surface. So all the little balls they actually burnish the surface. So they rub the surface and they make tiny, tiny little dents. And all these dents sort of fade into one. You end up with a nicely polished surface. The problem is if you have a look at the surface that's been tumbled in the light, the light doesn't reflect off like a mirror. So if you sand it using sandpaper, it's a much smoother surface, and when you polish it, it looks much, much better than a tumbled surface. And the thing is, the original one was polished with good old-fashioned elbow grease. So I wanted the same look as the original. That's why I'm not using the tumbler to clean the surface. Alright, once I've filed this, I'll take it to the drill and use sandpaper to blend and sand, and then finally I'll use a little bit of metal polish and let's see how it turns out.